All right, I'm really sorry for the internet issue. Sakshi, could you please again send me a request to join? I'll just add you.
Hey
Hello,
Vaishali.
Sakshi. Hi, how are
Hi.
you?
All good. How are you?
I'm good too, thank you. So, guys, Sakshi is a qualified chartered accountant. She's currently working with LinkedIn in the business and strategic operations team. Before joining LinkedIn, she has also had the experience with working with one of the reputed organizations of the nation, that is BCG, and Unilever as well. She has been a rank holder in two levels of CA exams, that is CA Foundation and CA Inter. She's also been awarded the Best Lady Candidate by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Well, her list of achievements can go on and on. I mean, really, all of us can take an inspiration from Sakshi. That is why we invited her to our platform so that you guys get a chance to interact with her directly. All right, Sakshi, so let's get started. So like I was telling that, the journey to becoming a chartered accountant is really difficult. To cracking CA exams is difficult. It requires years of hard work and dedication, but the journey after qualifying CA is not easy either. So a lot of chartered accountants deal with a lot of confusion when they are, they're just starting their career. But if we talk about you, you have had an amazing career since the very beginning. So, according to you, what are the few things that newly qualifieds can keep in their mind while they're starting their career?
Yeah, thanks, Vaishali. Interesting question. I think journey of a new professional is difficult anyway, whether CA or he's an engineer or a doctor. I think everybody has their own set of challenges. In my view, honestly,
Right.
I find CAs would have it more easier because you do 3 years of internship, which is called as articleship, actually with
Absolutely.
organizations. So I feel
Yeah.
CAs are actually more equipped to deal with what's coming in their professional life, which is why I believe like we as a community are more strong held and can deal with those challenges before. But it's not
Right.
that it's very simple. Everybody has to go through their own share of learning curve in terms of how to deal with the new profession, and once you're qualified, how to let sort of be successful in your career. I think
Mm-hmm.
two points which has helped me and I would just like to share is uh, firstly be very open minded in
Right.
whatever you've started, like give yourself enough time, uh, stick to it for a long enough time so that you understand if this is something which works for you or not. The second
Yeah.
would be we are a big community of chartered accountants, Vaishali. Like we have people from diverse fields within our alumni. So just be reaching out to people to understand what do they do and what fields work for them. How does their career look like? Taking inspiration from their career journey can help a lot in making your own career choices. So I know for a fact that when I was sort of giving the exams, not essentially qualified, but I was prepping for it. I used to follow all the CA Club India's top three rank holder stories, see what they're
Yeah.
doing now, and try to see, how different everybody has turned out to be, and like which one would I like to go forward. So just saying that it's a big alumni community. Everybody's there on some platform or the other. Ping, I think CAs are generally very responsive. If you tell them that you're trying to get advice into getting into some field or the other, so just harnessing the power of the community which you are a part of is a very powerful tool which you get being a CA. And well, the third thing is keep on learning new things. So if you come up in a job and you think that this is something which is not taught to you in the CA syllabus, be very open to
Right.
learn it. Like reach out to people. Don't say that, hey, you know what, this is not CA, this is not something which CAs is supposed to do. So keep an open mind for things. Try learning new skills at a time. I think these three will go a long way in helping you in your career journey.
All right. So guys, I can see that most of you are commenting your questions in the chat box. I would request you that we'll address all such questions towards the end of the session, if time allows us. So yes, it would be great if you send us those questions towards the end. So Sakshi, you have had the chance to work with, currently you're working with LinkedIn, and before that you have worked with BCG and Unilever. So you've
Mm-hmm.
worked with the most reputed organizations in the country. If we talk about chartered accountants or be it any other professional, professionals deal with a lot of career dilemma that, most of us are not able to figure out that what it is exactly that we enjoy doing, that we want to do. So I would like to ask you that did you ever find yourself caught up in a career dilemma? And if yes, how did you deal with it?
Oh God, I think I'm always in career dilemmas. A very interesting question. For the reputed organization, yes, I've been lucky to have sort of made it through there. Uh, Again, the question of what's right for you is totally depend on you as a person. uh, when I was exploring out, I came across a few opportunities. I decided that strategic consulting may be the best thing for me, and then when within that I tried to find the best places to work for which would support CAs. They were open to taking CAs in their teams, and BCG was one of them. So
Right.
my entire framework has been, well, find the thing you like, and then in that, like, try to find other 3 companies or 5 companies you'd like to work for which would give you a good career there, and then sort of try making a move or a switch there. That being said, I think everybody has their own right to what works best for them. Like, Deloitte is something which is very good for audit, but if you
Right,
want
right.
to, for example, do something else, right? Like if you want to make a career in taxation, then Deloitte audit is not the place. Maybe EY tax is a
Okay.
better place for you to be. So it depends on what you want, and then how that reputation, the reputed organization and the career bit comes into place. Regarding career dilemmas, honestly, I have faced my own share of dilemmas, whether it was making a call between continuing in HUL or going to BCG,
Mhm.
or
Right.
before joining LinkedIn, I had made it through 3 of the top 5 B schools of the world, and I was confused whether I
Mhm.
should go for an MBA or I should like take a transition to tech and see how this works out. And I think the best way to deal with any career dilemma is to get more information. So, what I generally do is I reach out to people who are in a similar profile like me, who have taken choices, and try to ask them, hey, you've been working in tech. How has your experience been? I am faced with these choices. What should I do? And some of
Right,
those
right.
conversations have honestly been quite given my own direction and own frameworks to evaluate my own decisions. So my advice to any person who's having a career dilemma is to reach out to people who have been at that in your shoes before, and just say that what did do. Multiple people will give you different types of advice, but when you make your final decision, you would know that you had all the pros and cons listed down, and that's the final choice you made.
Right. So that was a very good advice. I mean, all of us can always learn from the experiences of others. Even today, if we talk about the various career options, that are there for chartered accountants, so we talk of two very conventional career choices. One is either joining a CA firm or starting your own practice. But I believe in the past years, a lot of more career options have emerged for chartered accountants. So what do you think that what are the new career options that have emerged for chartered accountants in the past decade?
Yes. Very good question, Vaishali. I think all of this is a function of how CAs have been generally doing. So as CAs proliferate more into different industries, and once they go there, they also know that if they could make it, more CAs can come here too. So they sort of open up the opportunities to people. I have seen multiple fields open up. For example, BCG or management consulting started most of their CA flagship programs in 2010. So now you can
Right.
have a good career in strategic consulting. McKinsey and Bain also followed suit. So now you have all the strategic firms hiring CAs at any levels. That's clear. Then there are so many startups which are budding in India, and CA being a CA, we need to think that it's a holistic profession. You can like go into any industry, whether it's if it involves general problem solving. So I know a few of my mentees have joined startups and they have been doing
Right.
roles, let's say data science and combination of finance, but knowing how to like think about data has totally changed how things work. So it's interesting to see how CAs can go into different fields. Yes, there can be challenges. For example, if you're trying to, let's say, go into something which is not very conventional for CAs. For example, if you're trying to go directly to marketing, it may be a
Right.
little difficult transitions to make, but I'm sure that there are ways possible. If you talk to people, you will be able to find an internship, a coach who can mentor you. You can start small by working in a startup and then grow your marketing career. So at this point, I feel switching careers is very flexible, and CA being the course which sort of grooms you from every angle, you are honestly quite well placed to crack any career you want to.
All right. So if we talk about you, you yourself have worked as a strategic business consultant. So that's not a very obvious career choice for chartered accountants, or I would say that most chartered accountants are maybe not even aware of the job position or the job roles or the job responsibilities of a strategic business consultant. So if I ask you, if you could share insights with us on the roles and responsibilities of a strategic business consultant or management consulting, that would be great.
Yeah. So I stumbled across strategic consulting while I was doing my industrial trainings. I was working with two IIM Ahmedabad people who sort of said that, hey, Sakshi, if you enjoy such problems with us, you can just do more of these things if you move to strategic consulting, where you will be more agnostic to industry and you can work across multiple topics. And that sort of sparked my interest in strategic consulting. And I read up a lot on how the roles uh, happen. So in internet, there are a lot of literature available on how to crack consulting, what exactly a consultant do. But just to give a very quick sense of what happens in strategic consulting is there are multiple organizations who have some business issues. So somebody wants to turn
Right.
around, or somebody wants to increase their profits by 4x, or somebody just wants
Hmm.
to make an entry into a new market. So many of these organizations, they have smart people, but they may not be equipped to like get all the good strategic resources all at once. So what they do is they hire consultants. So as a consultant, you will be part of projects. So you will be assigned to a company in a team of, let's say,
Right.
two. It's a very lean team, which helps. So the work hours are very intense, and you will help the company solve the problem. And it's a very short stint. So it will be like a 3 months, and you have to design the next 5 years, what the company should do, what would be their strategy be, and then you move to different projects. So in a course of 1 year, you can work across four industries and tackle four different strategic problems which a business can face day to day. I think just like it's common sense work. I don't think so it was something that you need to learn strategy. Most of the basics are already covered in the CA course. All it means is you need to keep being logical, and you need to keep an open mind, try learning from your peers, and I think you're good to go.
Right. All right, Sakshi. So we did receive a lot of questions from our audience as well. We'll be taking those questions now.
Hmm.
So okay, our first question is from Prateek, and he's asking that why do people say that only a CA degree won't get you better placements? What else should we do?
Well, my question back to Pratik is no degree gives you any placement completely. Like, it's not just a degree you fall back on. It's a problem which is faced by engineers, doctors, everyone alike, that you need to have a holistic personality. Uh, so if we talk about CAs, degree is very important. Yes, you cleared. That means you know how to all the technical aspects of solving a problem. But the other things which is more important as well, how good are you in socializing? How well can you articulate yourself? So some of the soft skills like general presentation, uh, sort of like how do you network with people, how do you bring your point across, some of those can be very handy, and people who are good in technical terms and like a bit of soft skills can do like really wonders to the job. I think CA Institute already does this fantastic GMCS training and some of those trainings while you are at CA. My only advice to every aspirant is to take it seriously because it's quite helpful going ahead.
Right. So our next question says that how do job opportunities and hiring processes differ for a rank holder? One who passes without a rank and one who takes multiple attempts to clear the exam.
Well, Vaishali, like it's not how ideally things should function, but yes, there are differentiators. I cannot say that I haven't seen different ways. These things have panned out. Technically, nobody personally biases, but when you come across as job applications within companies, they would have an asterisk or something saying that CA with first attempt would be preferred. So
Right.
preference is generally there. They may not just shut out to everyone, which is why I feel that if you hone your soft skills better, if you have a good resume, if you know how to talk about yourself, it can do wonders for you to apply for jobs. There is this stigma outside. I know it there exists. I wouldn't say that multiple attempts will be given like an equal opportunity. There is like a terms and conditions everywhere where they say that, hey, first attempts are preferred. But personally, I have had friends in all the zones. I have friends who are rankers. I have friends who have done in first attempt. I've done friends who have taken multiple attempts. And now, 4 years after qualifying, I honestly see everybody in a very similar sort of a place. It didn't change a lot. So, just saying everybody, like anyone who is in whatever category, do not lose hope. I think anything is possible. Just keep on working towards it. It might be a little difficult to crack what you're getting, for example, with a multiple attempt scenario. But I've seen, I know a lot of folks who've done well. So keep on reaching out to CAs and your alumni network so that they push for your cases. Some of these things have to be fought together.
Right. Um, uh, I guess, most of the C aspirants or qualified chartered accountants, they have this notion or they sort of make this belief that if they take multiple attempts to clear the exam, so it might
Hmm.
restrict the career or job opportunities for them. But like you said, that if they work on their soft skills or, they develop some other skills or they add some other skills to their resume, so it might do wonders.
Hmm.
So our next question is from Aarti. She
Hmm.
says that what is LinkedIn and how it works for better job opportunities. Uh, so
Well,
yeah,
uh,
in fact, I have seen that CA aspirants or qualified CAs start joining LinkedIn when they are looking for job opportunities. I've seen so many people, those who have written in their bio that looking for articleship or looking for job. I'm November 19 qualified or so and so. We were discussing it in one of our sessions. But I personally believe that LinkedIn is so much more than that. You just don't have to look for job opportunities, but you can network with people. You can sort of become aware that what people in your industry or people who are in the same profession as you are doing. So I obviously want you to share your experience and what would you like to say to CS aspirants or qualified CAs that how they can use this platform in the best manner they can.
Oh, a very great question, Vaishali. And just sharing like a small story. The reason I worked for LinkedIn is because all my career moves have been because of LinkedIn. I did not get to rank in CA finals, and I was a bit disheartened that I may not get direct calls from consulting agencies who sort of send letters to all the rank holders saying they would like to interview them for this position. So the next best option I found was I sort of went on LinkedIn, found out every HR working in all the consulting places possible, and sort of cold emailed them saying that here is my CV. I really want you
Hmm.
to like have a chat with you that if I'd be right fit for the role. And along with it, I also reached out to my CA seniors who were working in this consulting organizations to help make those connects. And that's how I got into BCG. Same with the private equity firm I was working out with. When I decided that I want to go into an investing career and explore the investing option, which sort of felt lucrative, and I fit the job profile in terms of having 2 years of consulting experience. I actually made a list of these top 10 private equity firms I wanted to work for, looked up the people on LinkedIn and sort of texted them saying, hey, you know what? This is my CV. This is the reason I'm interested in your company. I love this portfolio you have and especially want to work in this sector. Let me know if you want to have a chat. And I got multiple responses and went towards having conversations with many investment partners, and finally making my own move. And this is the same with LinkedIn. When I was looking out for something in tech, when I decided to move into tech, there were multiple roles which came across on LinkedIn or otherwise. And I again sort of had the similar approach saying, hey, want to have a conversation with you, want to know. And some of those conversations have turned out into good opportunities. So, very short summary, LinkedIn is just not a job portal. It helps you do two other things. First is to stay informed. You can keep updates of what's happening. For example, a CA Club India event is featured in LinkedIn. And well, you know that you would like to know what this person is doing, you can join. It's a very good discovery place. And the second is it helps you to build your network. So if you keep all with
Right.
all these folks connected, at some point or the other, you will help somebody make a career move, or you can make your own career move using that opportunity. So
Absolutely.
it's just not a job listing platform. It gives you multiple places. It depends on how you utilize it. I know even I have sort of like joined LinkedIn late. Like I joined it after 2 years of my articleship, way before my qualified CA. But I think if any student who's online and has a good media presence should also have a good LinkedIn profile.
Right. So our next question is from Muskan Sinha. She's asking that I lack networking skills. How can I
Hmm.
work on it, and how important are networking skills for chartered accountants in the present day world?
Oh, well, important, they're very important. It's just because most of the conversations, most of the success in career right now depends on networking. It could be within the organization also. So let's say you solved a good project or you have a great idea. But if you can't network it within the right sets of people within the organization, that idea would get lost and you won't be able to make your impact. So networking is very
Right.
important, whether outside or inside the organization. Some tips on good networking is, well, become confident of yourself that it's okay to reach out to people. Everybody's trying to learn, and everybody wants to help everyone. So having that mindset is very useful. Secondly, there are multiple YouTube influencers who teach about good networking skills. I don't think so. I'm good at them. I'm still learning. And third is, try to come from a position of understanding the other person, that you want to network because it will be a win-win situation for both the people, and not just, well, I want to get this from you, or I want you to help me. It should be, you should try to like keep both parties in mind when you network. I think some of these mindset can be very helpful. And then it's, well, everyone's own style of networking. I have not seen a right way or a wrong way of networking with people.
Right. So our next question is from Ritik. In fact, many people were asking that if you could elaborate on your journey with HUL and BCG.
Oh, got it. So by elaboration, do you mean like the selection process? Do you mean like the experience?
Okay, so he is more keen to know about the hiring process.
Oh, got it. So HUL, well, I was an industrial trainee there, so the hiring process for me was fairly unstructured. I reached out to alums in HUL and sort of said that I want to make a move. And then it was more like a conversation with the potential departments that, hey, can I fit here? So it wasn't like there's a job opening which comes out for internship there. You have to find your own way and talk to people to get it there. But Unilever has this fantastic program called as Unilever Future Leaders Program. It's open to all the fresh CAs. I think they hire every May attempt. Not sure on the November one. Uh,
Okay.
and that's it's a very interesting. They have a 1 day case study, problem solving. There are multiple rounds to it, but you can like, so out of a pool of probably 30 or 40 shortlist, they will select three people, and those three people for the next 14 months will be rotated in every department of HUL, and they will do a project everywhere, and based on where they
Okay.
do well, they will be confirmed. So, for example, you can be HUL has vast variety of finance departments. You have supply chain finance, you have cost finance, you have normal accounting, then you have a strategic finance, and then you have budgeting team, then you have a marketing finance as well. So when you rotate across different teams, you understand which part of finance you like more, depending on how your project went. And depending on the vacancies which come up later in the year in those departments, you will be confirmed. So it's a very good way to learn the different types of finance within a company and where exactly you'd fit in. So that's on HUL. They are open, they hire very well, and it's a fantastic organization to work with. For BCG, there's a lot of literature available now, considering a lot of CAs have been able to move into consulting these days. It's fairly similar. They keep on asking for CVs. Even if you've not got the rank, you can reach out to HR. You can reach out to people who are working at BCG to sort of help you out in making your resume. It does not matter if you've gotten a rank, but if you've done something very interesting in your uh, let's say articleship, let's say you sort of helped in a marketing problem for a client as opposed to an accounting problem, BCG will be very interested in you because you went above and beyond your academic or your technical purview. And post that, it's a case study round. You have to get shortlisted and then you have to do all these case interviews. They're typically 9 to 10 rounds. You'll be interviewing with various partners. And out of a short list of around 35 to 40 people, they end up selecting somewhere between 3 to 5 every attempt. So it's a tough
All right.
one to crack, but if you have the right mindset and if you've done your pre-work and your prep very well, so it's a very prep focused interview. You need to prep for at least a month to have a good shot at these interviews.
Okay. So our next question is from Prateek Saksham, and he's asking that which of these combinations offer better career opportunities? Is it CA plus CFA or CA plus ACCA?
Got it. I would again say that there's nothing called as better career opportunity. It depends on what you want to do. So let's say a CA plus MBA focus will be good for people who want to uh, sort of take up a leadership plus a technical heavy role. So if you want to be, let's say, a product leader, or if you want to be joining as a finance manager directly, the CA plus MBA combination is very good. CA plus CFA is very good for, let's say, understanding a particular side of the market. So equity research is something which you could do really well. Again, with CA plus ACCA, the same thing. It's a different type of opportunities available for each of these combinations. So I would just tell everyone that decide where you would like to work, and then sort of do the back calculation that, hey, I want to go into this field, so maybe this is the right combination of things which would help me. There is no right or wrong answer here.
Right. So our last question is from CA Sahayata. It says that how is COVID going to affect job opportunities and pay scale for chartered accountants?
Got it. I don't think so. It should impact pay scale much, but I would say that in terms of job opportunities, be very open. I don't think that there'll be a reduction of job opportunities, but there will be a change in the places you get hired. So keeping that mindset open is very, very important in my view. For example, at this point, a lot of large companies have frozen hiring. So if you were a pass out looking for a job at this point of time, maybe you may not be able to go to these companies. And that's nothing wrong with the CA curriculum in helping you get placement, but just generally what the company is going through. But you can find other avenues. So there are a lot of other startups in the healthcare sector which are like getting traction. So maybe that's the place for you to join. There is the entire e-learning market, which is sort of bumped up. So you may want to like become a course instructor. So it depends. You need to keep open. I think there is job opportunities for everyone. It's that with the COVID one, we also have to evolve just as the way businesses and the countries are evolving.
Okay. So now I'm gonna take questions. We have a lot of questions in the chat box. Uh, yes. So we have a question from Rishika Agarwal. She's asking that how can I improve on my soft skills? And what are the platforms available to improve my soft skills other than GMCS?
Got it. So yes, GMC
Yeah.
is one big opportunity. The second one as well, YouTube, and there are a lot of platforms which has made courses like good networking, good presentation, all very open. It's free. So just keep on doing those courses and try to find opportunities within your articleship period to sort of demonstrate. So for example, if you're going to meet a client for a presentation, try experimenting with a new form of something you learned in the YouTube videos. Or if you want to talk about something to your manager, start having like a small slide ready saying that, hey, I made a presentation of what I want to explain. It may be an overkill for that, a small thing, but these things can help you practice in a much safer environment before you actually go for a job. So these things sort of help in soft skill development. from that perspective. The other thing could be trying to observe how public speakers talk, in terms of how they talk, what are the expressions they're using, how do they generally come across a point, and try to like. I think once you watch a lot of videos, it sort of sticks to it. You develop your own style by practice, though. So just saying that there are a lot of avenues available. There's no standard route to know what exactly. GMC is a good starting point. It will teach you the basics. And then depending on where you feel you lack, keep on improving by watching e-learning videos and enrolling in courses.
All right. So yes, we have our next question from Dinesh. He says that how to decide whether we should take up practice or job after qualifying our exams.
Well, again, it's a question you need to answer yourself, but just to like lay down what are the pros and cons. So, firstly, if you like going and developing your own business, like going and reaching out to clients, explaining, well, this is what you can help doing with, uh, that's something you would do in a practice. The second important thing you would do is you need to be open. You might get an audit assignment, but along with that, you will get a tax assignment also. So if you like working on a multifunctional project, practice is probably the best way to be. The third is, well, if you're okay with having the uncertainties in the business. For example, there might be good quarters where you like end up getting a lot of contracts, but there's some quarters where you would have a little lesser. So if you're okay with those ups and downs in your work stream as well as your income, I think practice is the right way to go. The other one is, well, in the corporate, if you're, for example, if you're not sure that, hey,
Right.
do I want to specialize in audit, or do I want to go into valuation, or do I want to go into taxation? I think corporate job is the best way to figure out. You do a year in each of these before making up your own practice decision. The second is, there is something, you have an obligation to have a financial income every month. I think practice can also give you that, but corporate job is just a little more stable. So that would give you. The third thing is, well, if you think about going for higher studies and you want to just meet a lot of people, I think a job is the best way to sort of network and know more functions before making your higher studies move. So I think these are few. There will be more softer points like location and flexibility, but these are few points you should consider while making a decision between practice and a job.
Okay. Uh, so our next question is from Somdeep, and in fact, many people are asking if you could highlight on the importance of industrial training. Did you yourself do industrial training during your articleship period?
Oh, yes, I did. So after 2 years of my articleship at Deloitte, I moved to HUL to do my industrial training. Um,
Okay.
so the reason for industrial training was quite obvious to me. I felt that the CA Institute gave us a good platform to experiment, that if you did not want to do something exactly like audit and taxation, but something else, how would that look like? And it's a very good way to experiment before making your decision after you qualify. So the CA industrial training is not compulsory, it's an optional thing. I would suggest that people who are confused, that they don't want to do audit or taxation or valuation, but they want to do something else, or they want to like work in a company's finance departments as opposed to, let's say, working in a firm which does it for everyone. How does a function working within a company like, to sort of have a real time exposure before you actually get qualified? It's a very good way to get learning. So I sort of applied for a few places, got through HUL because at that point, FMCG was something I really wanted to be in. It's just because of all the ads I had been seeing and all the things I've been hearing about. Well, this is a very large company and the finance team is great. So that's the reason I moved to HUL, just to get a broader exposure. And honestly, I was very lucky. I worked with a lot of different people who shaped my perspective on what I want to do post CA. And some of that network has also helped me to, connect with other people who have helped me land my future jobs. So from that perspective, industrial training is very important. I would put a caveat saying that it may be a very difficult thing to do in the third year, merely because you've become comfortable in your articleship. You have a fixed number of leave, but again, you are starting your learning curve once again in the third year and experimenting with a new thing. So you will take time to learn. and there's also uncertainty regarding leaves. You will have to negotiate. You have to build your reputation on how good you are as an intern again. So some of these points can be solved, but for example, if you're studying continuously all 3 years, industrial training is a very easy thing to do. But for example, if you've been putting away all your studies in the last 6 months, given the leave shortage which you get in the general industrial trainings, like 2-3 months, it's a hard thing to pull off. So I would suggest that evaluate from that perspective where you are, what do you feel about your career at that point, and then take the move.
Okay. So Sakshi, I'll take the last question.
Hmm.
It's from Rishika. She says that I want to go for CA for companies like Coal India, basically
Okay.
public companies. So what is the scope for CAs and public listed companies?
Oh, I think just as so public listed companies, uh, by public listed, does you mean government companies? Because all the companies that are listed on stock market are public companies.
I guess she does.
Oh, got it. Okay. So, again, just being very candid, I think the scope of CA remains the same. Like there is finance team in every company right now. So whether you go into Coal India or whether you go into L'Oreal or you go into, let's say, a banking finance company, your work would technically be very close to what you've learned in the CA. It's the only change I would just say is in terms of flexibility. Like I know people, I have friends in ONGC and Coal India who sort of have a different type of perks. So they get a house, they get more flexible hours. But for example, I have friends in finance and banking who have little tougher hours. It's a more intense job. So it depends on what you want to do and how your priorities are between work and life, and how much do you want to achieve that should you make these choices. I think Coal India is a fantastic company if you want to go to. It gives you good career options. It gives you very, very good flexible working hours, and it's a very reputed organization to work with in terms of work culture.
Okay. Uh, all right. All right, guys. So it was a very insightful session indeed. We'll be uploading the video on IGTV. You can share it with your friends who could not attend this session. Also, if you have any career related queries, you can reach out to Sakshi on her LinkedIn profile. She actively enjoys career counseling. The link to her LinkedIn profile will be available in our description to the IGTV video. Thank you so much, Sakshi, for joining us. And of course, the last word are yours.
Thanks, Vaishali, and thanks everyone for joining in and sort of like encouraging to share such stories across. I actively enjoy career counseling and especially helping new CA aspirants in terms of deciding like how to think about their job. Please feel free to like text me over LinkedIn. I'm superbly active there. Sort of replies come usually within once a day, and happy to help you out with any questions you might have. In case I can't solve them, I'll try to connect you to somebody I know who may be better in a position to answer your queries.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sakshi.
Thanks, Vaishali. Have a good day, and guys, have a good weekend
You.
ahead.
Thank you. You too. Bye bye.